My name's Gary Mortimer, and I'm the editor of sUAS News. I'm an accidental journalist. I come from an aviation background. For 34 years, I've had some or other form of license, even though I'm only 22. And I bumped into the RPAS industry, basically. Okay, let's just try it. Which one do I click? That one.
That one's next to you.
Let's give it a go. Okay, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm an aviator. My colleague Tian in the back is also an aviator. Everybody at sUAS News, and I think this is important, has flown RPAS, not just the Chinese plastic sort, but fixed wing and various experimental stuff as well. It's important in the RPAS world. I'm not very good at this public speaking. It's important in this RPAS world to boast, so I'm going to continue on the boasting theme. In 2010, I was the first person to fly an RPAS at the Farnborough International Air Show, and in fact, my RPAS opened the show. And the next thing, and nobody could see it. Fleur was supposed to have a big camera that was going to follow it around, and they couldn't see it. So that was very underwhelming. The next thing was an Airbus. And we also flew the first multi-rotor in 2010 to appear at Farnborough. So that's where I've come from. And other than tracking the RPAS industry, I really don't have a hat in the commercial ring in South Africa. So that means, unlike a lot of people, I can say what I like. I don't care. I'm not trying to sell you something. And I've no need to worry about upsetting the regulator. So that's my tomato throwing. Hopefully, some of what I'm going to say is wrong, and you'll be able to correct me afterwards. So yesterday, we can't really change what happened yesterday, but I think we do need to acknowledge that whilst, yes, start's a good thing, it hasn't started in the best way here, and it's definitely stifling information. And South Africa is not only falling behind the rest of the world, it's falling behind other African states. So today, what I thought I'd actually do is I'd look at facts. Facts are few and far between in the RPAS industry. Numbers are made up. The most famous numbers that are made up are the AUVSI AG stats. All they did for that big ag's going to grow and grow and grow, and pun intended there. All they did was take data from Japan based on what they were doing in small plots and times it by America. It's absolute nonsense, and it continues to be absolute nonsense. So if we're going to start from a data point that is perhaps more useful, why don't we start with the South African Civil Aviation Authority register? How many aircraft are out there and registered in South Africa? Now, of course, this can be wrong. It can be wrong for several reasons. I can add it up wrong, and I know from looking at this already, one of the companies that has aircraft in this register is no longer operating. But it's close enough, and it's better than the thumb suck. So there are, as of the 11th of April, there were 741 Zulu Tango licensed airframes in South Africa. And there were 25 ROCs. So all things being equal, that's about 30 each, I reckon. But the reality is, those 25 ROC holders have 300 aircraft. It's about 12 each. Well, is it really? No, it's not. Of those ROCs that are out there, 8 of them have 211 of the aircraft. So 8 operators have 211 aircraft. And that number's obviously skewed a little bit because there's training stuff in there, and we don't know if they're all still airworthy. But at least it's known data. Now, there are, so 741, you can just take notes and we can talk about this in the pub later really, but 741 aircraft, 277 entities have applied, legal entities have applied to have a Zulu Tango registration. So does that mean that we've got 252 companies or legal entities that are operating outside or most of the way to the law? I wonder. I thought that was a very interesting stat. Now, nerdily, I'm interested in knowing just, well, who are the manufacturers? And that sort of speaks to what the end use of all these aircraft are. And you can see DJI are the clear winner there with 55% of the South African market. And SenseFly, which I must admit, that did surprise me, 7.3% of the market. We can probably extrapolate all sorts of things from that, but DJI are winning. What else can we do with that data? I know what we can do with this data. we can then work out the weight, roughly. Now, this isn't going to be entirely accurate because some of the airframes are completely I'll go back, in the odds and sods category there. People have made stuff up themselves and there's really no description of what on earth they are. So I've ignored the ones in the odds and sods category. So it's very likely that there's more than 54% of the aircraft that have got a Zulu Tango registration in South Africa are sub 2 kilos. So that is where the interest in the market is, and those are the people that need a hand up, in my opinion. We're about to come to a brave new dawn, aren't we? BV loss is coming all around the world. It's coming because the equipment it's cheaper, it's effective, it's great. It's completely different to 5 years ago. So regulators are going to have to come and play in the BV loss party. 25 hectares down on the bottom left. That's roughly what a Phantom class machine can do to a decent standard. I know of platforms that can easily do 1,000 hectares in the fixed wing world to a proper survey standard, not to an online rendering survey standard. And that's equivalent to 40 flights of that Phantom. So BV loss, dear regulator, it's a great thing. Our RPAS are going to be in the air for less time, and for the operator, less takeoff and less landings. Everything's going to be a lot safer. It's going to be a lot better. So BV loss, please. BV loss obviously means you do need operators that are trained and understand what they're doing in the airspace situation. And I'm going to jump back. I'm rushing these slides because I'm nervous, but I'm going to jump back to this Australian situation. I firmly believe that we need to relax the regulations sub 2 kilo, as I alluded to earlier, in order to bring the industry up from the bottom, get people out there flying, see if their ideas work for them, and if they stay in business, then they can move up into the BV loss situation and keep going. All that said, and it's something that we can perhaps debate in the questions, I don't think the RPL, as a qualification anywhere in the world, has got more than 10 years of life in it. Everything, all the major inspection companies are moving to drones in a box, completely autonomous inspection, hit the button, away it goes. Just yesterday, an Australian mining company was asking a friend of mine why they can't deploy what they use in Australia. They do exactly that. They have an APM-powered quad on a box. Well, it's not in a box. Someone puts it on a table at the mine. They hit go wherever they're based, in Sydney or whatever. They monitor the thing via CCTV. It goes and does its weekly or daily measurements. The bloke takes it off the box once it's landed and puts it back to bed again. That is coming, and I think the industry needs to be very, very aware of that. I think by not opening up the industry at the lower end, the authorities are a little bit guilty of forcing an unsafe situation. People are buying and flying, as has been said, and they're staying outside of the safety remit. Far better, bring them into the fold, know who they are, what they want to do, feed them training information, feed them the very latest safety information, and try and educate them and bring them along. I think we're in a particularly unsafe situation here, and it needs to be addressed. Somebody needs to buy the Civil Aviation Authority a very big stick. Perhaps we can have a whip round and buy that big stick, because they need to go against we don't need any new laws, we don't need to change air law. All those laws are in place, everything's there. We need to enforce those rules and regulations. And those people that have gone to the trouble of getting an RSC now are going to have a return on their investment and going to be a little bit more protected, and people are going to be safer. I'm very ranty, I'm very passionate about this subject, even though I don't have a commercial hat in the ring, and I want to see things roll out in a safe and a particularly fair fashion. I will open myself up to questions later. I hope I haven't bored you too much. Thank you.